Season 5 ended and Ultra is just around the corner. Let's talk about gear. I prepared 4 lists, 2 for Ret, 2 for Preg, but I will mostly talk about Preg in this video because I rarely play Ret right now. Why? I will go into detail in another video. This is what I would consider the best combination of items that you can get in Ultra. And I will go through them and will list like alternative options because you won't necessarily be able to get all of these items listed. Some are easier to get, some are really hard to get. I mean, just by looking at a Valanier that will be like only available to a few of us. But in general, the general idea is you want to have 5% hit, and then you need a lot of crit. And to achieve that amount of crit that you can currently see here, we need a lot of PvE items. We reduced the amount of PvP items to a bare minimum and gemmed resilience like crazy to get a balance between crit and resilience and everything. And I typically aim for 800 to 900 resilience. As you can see, I'm currently sitting on 860 in this gear set. 5% hit, for nearly 41% crit, unbuffed that is. If we would have like Kings and the DK buff, for example, we would reach nearly 45% crit, which is actually really insane. I'm really looking forward to play a character with that gear. But to achieve this, we dropped and shaved off like most of the PvP gear and went for PvE gear that has a lot of hit to get 5%, a lot of crit, mostly high item level gear that are from Ultra hard modes, so not easy to get items. But if you're able to achieve this, this is the go-to. The PvP base core items are still 4 set pieces, so we keep our 2 set and 4 set bonus, and as Horde, the medallion of the Horde. And as Alliance, I would opt in for a trinket that I will introduce later. The best item that you can get by dropping 1 piece of your set items are, we jump a little bit, the gloves of the steady hand. These gloves provide like an extra gem slot in comparison to the Furious gloves. A lot of agility, a lot of crit, a lot of hit, and a decent amount of attack power, and you will net out with like 1.5 increased crit rating by using this gloves in comparison to like other choices. But the other options aren't too bad, so if you're not able to get them, don't worry. Furious Gladiator Scale Helm is the helm of choice for me, and important, it's a crit meta gem with increased crit damage. Crit, not agility, because the crit will give you melee crit and spell crit, while on the other hand, the agility meta gem will only give you melee crit. So I tend to go for this meta gem like all the time. Other options, if you would get them instead of the gloves, would be the Warhelm of the champion or the Boundless Gaze. I'd say a little bit worse, but completely fine if you get your hands on one of them. Then we go over to the neck, the Pendulum of Infinity, a huge amount of agility, a gem slot, and all the stats that we aim for. For sure the best choice, but we do have options for every piece, and if you can't get the Pendulum, you can go for the Strength of the Heavens, Seed of Budding Carnage, Spiked Battleguard Choker, Brooch of the Wailing Knight, or you go for the Furious Gladiator's Pendant, either with hit or with crit, all up to you. All choices are completely fine to go for, but as I said, Pendulum for sure the best choice. Shoulders are kinda set in stone. Didn't even look for other options because there are like way too many pieces better. Then in the BIS-LIST, I went for the Drape of the Faceless General. There are choices with way higher item level and really good stats, but because we already were over hit capping, I decided for this cape because it has like really the stats that we are looking for, and 2 gem slots, which is like really rare. I can't even think of another cloak with 2 gems. But best choice, and the other options would be the Drape of the Icy Intent and Drape of the Skyborn. But keep in mind, Drape of the Skyborn is a crest item, and you can choose between the cape or the ring, the brand's signet ring, which I opted in for. Both options completely fine, but the brand's signet ring will net out a little bit better. So that's why I choose the ring here later. Didn't went for another chest because there are like so many other options. Then we do have the armbands of the Bedlam. Really hard to get Bracer, and if you're not able to get them, the secondary choice would be just to go for the Furious Bracer. They're really fine, and I will even, depending if I need more resilience or not, swap them out as well. Then we do have Valanier, the main hand, the best in slot weapon. I mean, there's nothing to think twice. If you have the option to get Valanier, you go for it. Has the best stats, the highest item level, the bonus effect that you can see here, the go-to. But there are like other choices for weapons as well. If you can't get them, there is the Constellus weapon. The Furious Gladiator's weapon is a really good choice as well. And if you get the rating, it is available. Or Asuga, Hand of the Ardent Champion. Then we do have Bulwark of Algalon, as the name already says, a drop from Algalon 25 that you will maybe see, if at all, quite late in the season. We do have other options as well here. The Burrow Guard and the Shield Wall of the Breaker, both really good options to go for if you can. Then we, as said, we do have the Gloves of the Steady Hand. The second option would be the Furious Gloves, because if you can't get them but another piece, you will have to keep the 4-set bonus from the PvP set. But in general, the general idea, if you get, doesn't matter what piece you get, make an 80 upgrades list, throw that in there, try to build a set around this gear with your gear that you currently have. Try to aim for 800, 900 resilience and 5% hit, and just see what gear you have to throw around to achieve the stats that you want. Then we do have the Belt of Colossal Rage, a really contested item for melees, I'd say. I'm not too sure PvE-wise if like Warriors want it as well, but I know that DK will run this. But Belt of the Colossal Rage, a really good item. 3 gem slots with the buckle, hit crit, and third rank bonus. If you are not able to get this item or didn't get it yet, the secondary options would be the Soul Devouring Kinch, the Furious Gladiator's belt, or the Death Warmed belt is an option as well. Then we do have the Furious Gladiator's scaled leg guards, where you have like one other option that I could see, that being the plated leggings of Ruination, geez, my pronunciation, which is a decent option as well. If you like don't like to run male gloves, or if you don't get them, or any other choice. Then we do have the Sabatons of Lifeless Night with 2 gem slots, really insane stat-wise, item 252 as well. Like most of what we have and were PvE-wise, as you can tell. I think the only PvE piece that isn't 252 item level is the Drape. The Sabatons, otherwise you can use, like, there are actually a lot of options. We do have the Tempered Mercury Greaves, the Greaves of Swift Vengeance, Food Pass of Silence, and the PvP boots as well. Then we do have a lot of ring options. The best choice would be the Seal of Betrayed King with main stat, gem slot, hit and crit, and the brand signature ring from the crest from Uldur. other options would be Loop of the Agile from Uldor 10-man, Brand's Sealing Ring, Sif's Promise, or the Inscribed Band of the Kirin Tor, which you can just buy for gold. The decent items to start with and upgrade later. Then we do have the Medallion of the Horde for Horde. And as an alliance, I would go for like a different set of trinkets. In my Horde set, I went for Wrathstone, but Wrathstone is mostly for setup comms like Preg DK, where you will sometimes do setups, and sometimes it's about pressure, so I will swap this trinket around frequently between Dark Greatness and Wrathstone, how I feel. And setup comms like Red Rogue or Red Hunter, Wrathstone is really nice to have because you have like setups where you want to force cities or want to kill, and an on-use trinket with baseline crit and 905 attack power on demand is like really nice to have, and that's what I will go for. This other option would be, as said, Greatness, still one of the best, if not the best, trinket overall, due to its high chance to proc and the sheer amount of main stat that you will get. As Alliance, you will drop Resilience due to missing out on the Medallion. So the options would be the Platinum Disc of Battle with Resilience and attack power on use. So you will drop Wrathstone for it. You will gain the amount of Resilience you will would lose otherwise from the Medallion, and you would go for Greatness as well. So Greatness and the disc for Alliance. Furious Gladiators Libram, pretty much the go-to Libram as a Preg paladin. Quick note, what I didn't mention yet is there are new gems introduced that you might already saw. It's from Fishing Daily, as far as I know. You can equip one gem of these per color, and the important ones are 20 strength and 20 hit that you could put into your gear to achieve like the stats that you, the hit rating that you want to achieve. Didn't need it in my BIS-LIST here, but just for your information that this gem is out there. If you need like 4 more hit, this is the gem to go. This is the BIS-LIST of mine with alternative options. And as I said, wriggle around with the gear that is available to you and keep the main stats in mind. You will be completely fine. Then the BIS-LIST, where you don't have to set a foot into a raid at all. I will go really quickly through them and the ideas behind the items. So we still keep the 4 set, as you might already thought. We have the same amount of resilience. We dropped some attack power and some crit rating because, as I said, it's for alls, and if you don't raid, you will miss out on these stats. So you have to be aware of that. The options that I can provide are the Brooch of the Wailing Knights, an item for the new currency, and you can gain the currency by raiding or by just doing the daily heroic dungeons each day, so you are able to get them without raiding, but you will have to do dungeons to gain the badges. Then we do have the Shawl of the Shattered Giant, a BOE that you can buy on the auction house. The Northern Barrier, as well, a BOE item that is buyable for gold. Then we do have the Gloves of the Blind Stalker, another item that you can get for the new badges. So daily dungeons are your friend if you don't want to raid. Then another BOE, a leather belt with 3 gem slots with really good stats. The Footpaths of Silence, a BOE as well. There are so many decent BOEs for Preg, it's insane. And this is pretty much the list that I will run on my alls where we don't want to raid. The PvP ring. Then we do have the Band of the Kirin Tor that you can buy for gold. The already known Dark Greatness for Horde. For Alliance, you can opt in for the Platinum Disc that I introduced earlier. And the Furious Gladiators Libram. Really quick list. You could get this like instantly, besides the badges that you would have to farm, obviously. A decent list with decent stats if you don't want to raid. Next up is a Ret Bis list. I will go through it like really quick. And the general idea, as well as it was on the Preg list, 5% hit. And then you want to prioritize strength as much as possible after this crit. And after this, everything else, like haste is okayish to have, not really important. And armor pen is like crap, but there are some items that are still worth to use. So you will see like 37 armor pen rating. That is, yeah, basically this ring. All right, pendulum, really good for red as well. Then we do have the drape of the icy intent, because we won't go for the mail gloves like we did in the Preg list. We need the hit from somewhere else, that being from here. Then we do have the armbands of Bedlam as well. PvP weapon, probably the best choice, because you still want to maintain resilience, and to achieve this we kind of need the 100 resilience from this weapon, and it's like damage wise comparable to like the PvE best in slot option as well. Then we do have the Belt of Colossal Rage again, Sabatons as well. So pretty much the PvE pieces are quite equal to Preg. So if you want to swap around specs, it's pretty nice, because you don't have to get like different pieces for both specs. The only thing that is that differs is the drape versus the general cloak, and yeah, even then you can play with the one option or the other option as well, if you maintain the hit, that is. And last, we do have the Ret Bis list, where you don't have to raid at all. You will need to do dungeons though to get like this Joker to get enough hit for the set. In comparison to the Bis list, you will drop like 8% crit and haste, but that's about it. It's a decent list, and as said, for alts, completely fine. We do need badges for this Joker. We can buy the BOE cloak again. We will make use of the new introduced hit gem to achieve our hit rating that we need. We went for like pretty much all the known items here and gemmed more strength, because we mostly run PvP items in this list. So you'll have a lot of resilience, and to make up for the missing offensive stats from the PvE gear that we don't have, gemmed more offensive by going for strength instead of pure resilience gemming. So yeah, these were the 4 lists that we prepared on stream, and if you haven't already, feel free to follow me on twitch.tv/accident_. Yeah, I can't wait for season 6 to begin. If you want to look like all the gear up that I showed in the video, there's a document in the description for you. So you can like quickly take a peek there when something drops and you're like, well, was it on the list? Was it not? But keep in mind, there are still so many more items that are still decent, maybe not as good as the items that I mentioned. So yeah, just create your own list and try to do what I did. Try to reach the values that you want, and then try to create a list around the items you have. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.